Good morning, Mayor, Commissioner. I appreciate the opportunity to greet you again. First, I want to say that I am in absolute support of the Historical Preservation Society and their recommendation for the restoration, actually for saving the Tinker Field facilities. I don't think there was a distinction until just this morning when I realized there was a distinction between the field grass, dirt, as opposed to the vertical construction components, which are the stands. Recently there was a report that was done on Baseball Hall of Fame, and I don't know how many folks saw that, but it really talked about the value to a place that's in the middle of nowhere in New York State. And I think when you look at Orlando, Florida, and it's 52 million visitors that come just through the airport, we're talking about something where we have the opportunity to capitalize on a very tremendous, sustainable, historical/cultural arts venue. In saying that, I've got to say that I've worked with City of Orlando, great staff under the direction of Mr. Byron Brooks and those in Downtown Development Board on a host of different issues across a varying group of an array of I think, subjects from housing, community development, how we do and how we're yielding to, I think, the momentum of where Orlando's going. Mayor, you've taken on projects that two of our, I guess, arguably greatest mayors have failed on doing. We brought the synergy together from across the metropolitan areas, as far away as Volusia County down to Osceola, making sure that certain aspects and amenities are afforded to our citizens. When we talk about historical and cultural arts venues, which our Central Florida communities are horribly deficient in, we've got to look to our only last vestige, which is Tinker Field Stadium stands and field. When I say that, I think about some of the missed opportunities that we've had when I worked on collaboratives like Promise Neighborhoods, which was a $30 million grant opportunity between Department of Education and our community-based organizations. We brought some dynamic synergy that said that revitalization is critical and key in making sure that as we move forward as the greater Orlando area, that we all move forward. Or we burden ourselves with a giant chain and a huge weight to drag forward those deficient, those deprived, those under-resourced communities. I think that's not the solution that we want to bear. I think there's 4 letters that planners hate, Mr. Brooks, and it's oops. We missed it. Oops. We made the wrong decision. Oops, it's too late to make the right choice at this point in history as we're moving forward. Financial community has rebounded. And now we have and we've always had some of the greatest stakeholders in modern history right here in Central Florida. One of the greatest employers in our region is Universal Studios in District 6. What we have an opportunity to do is to bring together the greatness of the stakeholders with the greatness of the ambient communities, the rich diversity of the history that is second to none, and help Orlando position itself in sports and African-American history future, moving forward toward the future. I think if we look at the numbers that the Baseball Hall of Fame has done for that region and use that as a way to talk about how it makes dollar cents to invest in historical venues, then we talk in the same progressive tones that we talked when we talked about moving forward with the arena being moved from one venue location to another, when we talked about bringing the Performing Arts Center into reality. One of our greatest mayors, Mayor Frederick, couldn't perform that, Mayor. And I look back and I thought, we're talking about some Herculean tasks that you've made happen. Here's another opportunity for you to do that, to you to take this moment in history, this moment in time, and use some of those stakeholder partners that you have collected through your wise movements and help bring them to the table with us. Our ambient community has been working with Lift Orlando and our healthcare partners in this community to build a collective, collaborative that we can, as we move forward, the under-resourced communities of the West communities can now flourish and have a future because now we've identified 4 or 5 points of revitalization that's necessary to move forward. I want to thank each of you for the time that you've invested in giving up your private times and your family lives and your personal lives to come out and do public service. But I ask that you also know that moving forward, Orlando has to move forward balanced, sustainable for all of our citizens. Thank you again.
Thank you. Charlie Jean Salter.